And as we wait for Parliament to deliberate on the Proper Sexuality and Family Bill 2021, we are this afternoon getting into the minds of people in our communities on what they think about the bill. We will be crossing live to speak with our correspondents across the country. But first, Adam Senano is Management and Development Consultant and co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He joins us via Zoom on this discussion. Adam, I'm grateful for your time. Now, a few days ago, we shared how content from foreign media has the tendency of influencing our children. You have concerns about the gay community telling it to our faces that they're coming all out for the children. What are those concerns?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is very easy for us as a society to assume that the incidence of homosexuality and the current events where an LGBTQI plus rights office was opened are isolated events, one-offs. But if you look at the trajectory from 2019 to date, you would recognize an increasing tempo in terms of first comprehensive sexuality education, which was October 2019, where they say children have the right to explore their sexuality from age 4. And then by July 2020, we had the Sankofa conference that they attempted hosting here. Till now, you have the January opening of the office supported by the EU ambassador, etc. You can clearly discern that there is intentionality. Somebody has a plan to influence or impact our nation with more content on LGBTQIA plus rights and practices. And listening to a song by the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir, where they say we are coming after your children, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just chilling, absolutely chilling. And it tells us that we need to be more organized and more understanding that, look, there is a group that has an agenda and we need to take this particular issue more seriously than many may have taken it so far.
Now, looking at the people who have also come against this bill, very powerful people in society, and you and I agree that the battle we are fighting is a difficult one. How do you advise that we go about this? What should be our guide?
Well, I mean, it's interesting to note that the learned, renowned people who've spoken against this generally have tended to be a small group of human rights lobbyists or activists, whichever word you want to choose. And human rights is just one area of knowledge. I have said over and over again that it surprises me that they did not choose a multidisciplinary group to have this discussion with. Because those in science, the medicines, the health experts, those who on a daily basis see the impact and ramifications of the practice. And many of us are saying that this is not a fundamental human right. The minute you accept this as a fundamental human right, the scope of what rights include would have been expanded to cover almost every imaginary notion of I have a right to do this and my practice is that, and whether it is marijuana smoking or crack or armed robbery, all of that will become part of the rights thing. When we say fundamental human rights, these must be things that collectively across humanity we all sharing. We all share in the belief that this is something we are entitled to, this is something we're born with. The issue of homosexuality is not something that humanity shares with. Otherwise, you would not find 93% of the population saying we won't have to have nothing to do with it. It tells you that we don't share in this as a right. It is not fundamental, but it is a practice. I think that the way to look at it is that there are several other fields of expertise and knowledge that do not, as it were, align with the fact that this is a right. Science doesn't, the medical people won't, the psychologists won't, the genetics people won't, the economics people won't, because again, from the assessments we've done from economic impact, it's a negative. Add to that the fact that good law actually emanates from what the societal ethos is. So what do the people believe? So let's ask Ghanaians, do you believe that this is something that should become a law or not? If the majority of Ghanaians say no, and we are in a majority democratic state, that is what it shall be. So for me, I think it's a clear-cut issue. Go back to the Ghanaian people, ask them what it is, let them establish what they want. At the same time, take on board the minority concerns, because you don't want a society where minorities and their concerns are not dealt with. If there are specific concerns, let's deal with them and ensure that whatever law we pass has ensured that they are also protected to the extent that it doesn't infringe on the rights of others.
I'm happy that you talk about going back to the people in our communities to ask them, because that's what we'll be doing this afternoon. But also the people that are representing these people in the communities in Parliament, we've not heard much from them, because finally they will be working on the bill. Aside the proponents of this bill, we've not heard much from members of Parliament. I mean, as they begin to deliberate and work on the bill, what are your expectations, Mr. Senano?
Well, there's been a call that this must be done in the full glare of the public. I subscribe to that. The passions and emotions are very high on this issue, and Ghanaians want to know that nothing funny happened there. So let's make sure that the cameras are there so that the deliberations are fully covered. That's one. Two, we would expect that there'll be no secret balloting. If it comes to voting on issues, make sure that it is open. So all of us know, if my parliamentarian went and voted one way, I know where I'm voting next time, whether he's staying in parliament or not. We want open ballots. We also want to make sure that the memos and comments that have coming, there's a part of the deliberation that shows how they pull together the content from those memos, structured it, and infuse it. I don't doubt that there will be some changes to this law in terms of the wording, in terms of probably the sentencing policy to be more reformative, etc. But it should be a journey that Parliament seeks to carry along the entire populace, so that at the end of the day, as a country, we can see that we did what was right for this generation and for generations to come.
I'm grateful for your time. Edem Senano is chairman for Advocates for Christ Ghana. He's also co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Now, let's get into our communities and see what goes through their mind as far as this bill is concerned. Erastus Asaridonko joins us from the Ashanti region. Martina Bugri will join us from the northern region. Elias Utanko is our correspondent from the northeast region. Anna Sabit is from the Bono East region. And Rafiq Salam joins us from the Upper West region. We'll start from the Ashanti region and speak with Erastus Asaridonko. Erastus, generally, what has been the response to the debate on the Proper Sexuality and Family Bill 2021 in the Ashanti region?
Well, thank you. I must say that the discussion has been rife on many radio stations in Kumasi, for example, for the past 2 weeks. People have been talking about it, sharing their views passionately about this issue. From what I gather from the discussions, it looks like not many people know exactly what is contained in the bill. Many people are rather concerned about the general view of LGBTQI people, and to them, it's a no-no. There is no compromise on it. They will never accept these people, and it's a practice that would never be accepted in the society. But there are many people who also agree, and if you monitor what happened on, for example, on Love FM in Kumasi, where listeners called in, they are saying that, yes, we will not go attacking anybody. We will not subscribe to people that go and lynch or perhaps attack or assault people who are found to be gay. But then it is not a practice that we'll ever accept in our society. And so if there is a bill that seeks to prevent that, then they are all for it. That has been the general discussion on the various quarters in the Ashanti region. And
in all of this, I'm sure they have specific expectations of their members of parliament who will finally sit on this bill. What are those expectations?
Exactly. And for example, some callers who called into the program yesterday wanted, just like Mr. Senanu said, they want an open voting. They seriously want to know who voted for what, and they want to know what the views of their MPs are. There are some who were expressing the view that they are not hearing from the majority side, for example, want to decouple from the usual NPP-NDC banter. It is something that they want a dispassionate view and voting on, because it's something that the Muslims will not accept it, Christians will not accept it, even pagans will not accept it, the traditional authorities do not accept it, and so will never happen within their lifetime. They don't want their children to also participate. But they also admit that the practice has been here for some time. There are people within our midst, especially in the Shanti region. There have been some cases where people have gotten married on the blind side of people as gay or lesbians within the Kumasi and its environs. And so they admit that, yes, the practice has been here. If there is some help for such people, they believe that it should be given, but it's something that will never be accepted within the Ghanaian society.
Let's talk to Anas. Anas, is the story different from the Bono East? Anas Sabit.
Hello?
Yes, Anas. I'm asking if the story is different from the Bono East region.
This is not Anas, but rather Rafiq.
All right. Rafiq Salam joins us from the Upper West region. Rafiq, what can you tell us from where you are? How are people responding to this whole debate about LGBTQI+?
In the Upper West region, there is no middle line. They are saying no to the practice, and they won't support anybody who is involved in such an act. I remember some few months ago, the overlord of the Wallet Personal area, now for the city, Philip IV, has been meeting the religious leaders in the municipality, and they've been talking about strategy on how to deal with these issues of LGBTQ plus in the one municipality, because they realize that some youth in the town have taken for it, and they are saying that they won't allow such practice to happen in the one municipality. Remember, majority of the people here are a Muslim predominant community, and they will not allow such an act to happen in the region. Some few months ago, there were pictures and videos of some youth in the town on social media involved in that act. And so even a committee was set up to look into those issues. And even there are some people who are saying that, or even going around the community looking for such people, and they are saying that should they get into contact with them, they are going to beat them mercilessly. But the overlord of the Wallet Personal area has spoken to these religious leaders, and so as part of their sermons, whatever Friday or whatever they meet people, these religious leaders have been tasked to speak about this issue of this, the disadvantages, or also how they frown on that practice, so that it will go to the people, so that they will not stick to it. And so that's the situation in the one municipality.
Rafiq, specifically, what do people that you speak to want to see happen in Parliament when the bill, when they start deliberating on the bill?
The people, for them, they think that the law should be quickly passed because they think that lots of young men and young women in the community are involved in that act. And so for them, they think that the religious leaders that they want to have spoken to about, at least once they do their sermons, once they do the preaching, it will change a lot in the community once they wait for Parliament to pass such a bill. And so that's why I told you that even committees have been formed. There have been young men and women who have formed a committee of a sort trying to look into these issues. And I remember some few months ago, one guy who was alleged to have been involved in the act was beaten mercilessly on this particular issue. And so they are not going to tolerate that in the one municipality because they think that both Christians and Muslims are frown on it, and they will not allow such practice to happen in the one municipality or the Upper West region.
Well, in the northern region, Martina Bugri is our woman there. Martina, what's the story of Tamale? What do people think about this bill? I mean, what do they think?
I guess my other colleagues have already said most of what people think in the region. They think alike. They think that the MPs should not have a problem passing this bill because they believe that most Ghanaians do not agree that LGBTIQ should be it's not something African, it's not something Ghanaian, and it's not something Northern at all. Residents who are largely Muslims believe that it is against their faith. And when they open phone lines on radio stations, you hear the comments, the anger, the passion people speak against it. It tells you that the people in the region are against it. Now, in 2013, a family, somebody suspected to be a gay family was attacked because they had issues with that. And so it tells you that for the people of the northern region, it is a no-go area subject. And so they think that their MPs from the region here should vote for the bill, and they expect that any MP who does not vote for the bill definitely hasn't got a chance to go back to Parliament. And so they think that, yes, it is something that their MPs should vote.
Thankfully, we've had some assurances from some of the MPs. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu has been speaking on that matter. But listen to what the Majority Leader had to say when Evans Mensah caught up with him.
Ghanaians have our own unique upbringing, our own set of values. You know what is right and what is wrong. We distinguish what is right from what is wrong. So we know what is right by our own upbringing. I belong to the Assemblies of God Church. I'm a Christian. I will not pretend that my upbringing has not been impacted by Christianity. Equally so for my colleagues who are Muslims. They come from various ethnic backgrounds and brought up traditionally and culturally within the context of Ghanaian upbringing. So we know what is right and we know what is wrong. And I'm not too sure that I know of any ethnic group in this country that applauds what discussion is going on. But unfortunately, we are introducing into this discourse emotions and sentiments, which I think is very much unnecessary, with all the threats that are being poured into the arena.
Which threats?
Oh, people saying that we'll chase members of parliament with buttons and cudgels if they don't pass this law and so on. I think
Vote you out?
It's not necessary. Is it the case that, and people, somebody was even saying that, oh, we should telecast the discourse so people get to know who will be voting against what and so on. It means, you see, the people, some of them, they're not even following the conduct of business in Parliament. There's never been an occasion when in the consideration of any bill, we've shrouded it in secrecy. Everything is done in the open.
Let's now get to Ilyasu Tanko. He's in the Northeast region. Ilyasu Tanko, what's the story from your region?
Well, we have gotten some responses from some traditional leaders and also from religious leaders as well. Today, I monitored in some mosques. There were some prayers against the activities of these LGBT. And there were prayers, there were supplications against the activities in the country. And over the weekend, some churches have also been offering special prayers against the LGBTs and the activities in the country. And so, some of the traditional leaders are also beginning to tell their people, because apparently most people are not aware or they do not understand the context of this bill, and all that they know is the general view about the activities of the LGBTs. But they do not, most of them do not even know, they have not read the bill and they do not understand the content of the bill. But all that they care is that they want, at the end of the day, this bill will be passed immediately, banning the activities of the LGBTs. And so in the Northeast region, people, because of slow information. The reach of information is very slow, especially in communities where most communities do not have electricity, and people don't get to watch the news and don't have radio stations. And so, but the few that have been calling in radio stations are really, they really want the MPs to immediately pass this particular bill.
All right, Anna Sabit has also joined us back in the Bono East region. Anna Sabit, you've been interacting with people in your region. What do they think? Or do they think differently from all the other regions? Anna Sabit, unmute for me. All right, so we're having a challenge with Anna Sabit, but if you just joined us, we're having a conversation about the LGBTQI plus debate, and we're looking at the bill before Parliament. You've heard the minority leader says, speaking to issues raised by the communities or society, and he says Parliament will do the needful in passing that bill. You've also heard from the majority leader, who's been talking about everything that the MPs will be doing will be in public for everybody to get to know what really happened or what went into that bill. We've been trying to gauge the mood in our communities. And in fact, we've gone to the Ashanti region, we've gone to the Upper West region, we've gone to the Northeast region, we've gone to the Northern region, trying to understand what people think about this whole bill. And you heard their correspondent expressing what people in that region are thinking about the bill. We'll take a break on the pulse, but remember you can join the conversation via all our social media handles. You can tweet at us with the hashtag the pulse. When we return from the break, we are looking at increase in fuel prices at our pumps beginning tomorrow, and we want to gauge the mood of the public. Are you prepared for this? What does this even mean for the ordinary Ghanaian? Stay with me.